Rishut Merabatai. We are up to Perek Gimel of Shemuel. So far we had the story of Shemuel being born in the first chapter, and the second chapter was Shemuel gets raised up by Eli Kohen, and gives the whole contrast. So we had the Shira first of all, which was very important. That was the second perek, Shira of Chana. A lot of deep things you could learn from Shira. You could spend a lot more time on it, right? And then we had, and after the Shira and the last perek, we had the story of the Bnei Eli, that they were doing things wrong. Mafia, right? The Kanim of Mafia. So Hashem really didn't like it. He sent the Navi, Elkanah, the father of Shemuel, to come and warn Eli that he's going to get punished, right? And the punishment was that his children are going to die, and whoever in his family, they're going to die young. And that was the way we finished last perek yesterday, that with the prophecy of the curse that's going to come to Eli's family. And it says they're going to go beg for money.
Who's going to beg for money?
Whoever is left from his family. Okay, so we start פרק ג' פסוק א', הנער שמואל משרת את אדוני לפני אלי. Again says the same thing, we had this before. And we explained what does it mean? משרת את Hashem is serving, Hashem is serving, is basically working for Eli. So it says whoever serves תלמידי חכמים is serving Hashem. That's what it says. ודבר Hashem haya yakar b'yamim ha'en. And the word of Hashem was rare in those days. That means there was no nevuah. For some reason, Hashem stopped giving nevuah. Until then, there were a lot of nevi'im here and there. Yeah, Elkanah was Navi.
Eli was Navi.
Eli was Navi, that's right. But then became rare, slowly Hashem stopped talking to anybody. Very little. And Chazon Nifras. Right? The Chazon is vision. The prophecy was not widespread. It was a little bit here and there. Right? You saw, okay, Elkanah was there. It wasn't like the days before that we had so many Nevi'im. Even though we have 48 Nevi'im that's written, those are the Gemara says, what 48 Nevi'im? There were thousands of Nevi'im, right? At a certain point, we'll see later on also, it says a whole bunch of Nevi'im, they're singing together, the old Nevi'im. Those 48 are special Nevi'im that had messages for future, right? The ones that the regular Nevi'im, they were a lot, but at this period of time, nothing, very little. Was very rare. Being a Navi was very, very rare. ויהי ביום ההוא ואלי שוכב במקומו. That was that day that Eli was sleeping in his place, right? They were close. They were by Mishkan. ועיניו החלו. His eyes were becoming dim. Kehot, they started to become Kehot Dim, Velo Yochal Lirot, and he couldn't see. Not that he couldn't see at all, he couldn't see well because he was very old, especially at night. So therefore it says Shemuel had to be around him always, make sure if he needs something, take care of him. ונר אלוהים טרם יכבה the light of Hashem, the ner of Hashem, the candle of Hashem, before it goes out. So there are two ways to Radak Sadif. It means the candle of Beit HaMikdash before going out, and then it's talking about their sleeping. How can it be? The candle of Beit HaMikdash says that until morning it was on. So it's talking about different things. It was talking about leadership. The leadership before it goes out, another leadership Hashem starts to bring. Right? It says always when Hashem is taking one leader out, when Moshe was about to die, Hashem chose Yehoshua. Every leader like that. When Hashem already plans the next leader. That's what it really, the message of this pasuk is. Ushmuel shochev, and Shmuel was sleeping. Be'echal Hashem, in Hechal of Hashem. Right. So the questions, how could he sleep in the Hechal? No one is even allowed to sit. Forget about sleeping in Hechal. Right? So Rashi gives the answer. Look at the first Rashi in the page. Ushmuel shochev. Bimkomo be'ezrat haleviim hashomrim beit hamikdash. They were in his own place, in a courtyard of the Leviim, that they watch the Mishkan, basically. It says Mikdash, but it means Mishkan. It wasn't in the Echal, even though it says Echal. It was next to the Echal. There was a place, special place for Leviim, that because the Leviim are the gatekeepers, so they had a place to sleep there. In the mornings, they have to open the gate. At night, they have to close. So that's Leviim's job. So they have to be there. So Shemuel was sleeping there. Hashem Sham Aaron Elokim, that Aaron was there. Vaikra Hashem El Shemuel, Vayomer El Shemuel. Hashem called Shemuel. He called him Shemuel. In the middle of the night, he's sleeping. Vayomer Hineni. Right away, Shemuel says what? First thing he hears his name. Hineni. Hineni, we heard few places. First place we see is Abraham. Moshe also, but Abraham says, when the sacrifice of Yitzchak, Abraham, Hineni. Right? So Hineni means what? I'm ready to do whatever you say. Moshe said the same thing, even though Moshe was refusing to go at the beginning. But he said, Hineni, I do whatever you say. Why was he refusing? It was because he was humble. It was from his humbleness. But so Hineni means I do whatever you say. If you want me to become a leader, I become a leader. If you want me to kill myself for you, I'll kill myself for you. Whatever you do, give my life for you, I do. Right?
סוף המקרא העליון מחובר לראש המקרא התחתון.
Which Rashi you looking at? We're up to Pasuk Dalet. Yeah. ויקרא. כל יוצא מהיכל השם. As היכל of Hashem, a voice came out מבית קודש הקודשים. From Kodesh HaKodashim, when that's why it refers to Aaron. Aaron was there. The voice was coming from there. Apparently, the place that he was sleeping was close to there. So the voice was coming from Kodesh HaKodashim. Shekara Shemuel. He called his name, Shemuel. So מחובר לראש המקרא התחתון. Yeah, you see the end of the last passage that says Aaron Elokim is connected to this. Not that Shemuel was sleeping next to Aaron Elokim. The voice was coming from Aaron Elokim. That's what Rashi is referring to. Right? It's connected to this one. זה שאומר בכתוב, ירם אל בקולו נפלאות. Okay.
וואו. הוא עליי היה כהן ושומר
אלי היה כומר ושומר מבפנים. Right? ושמואל היה שוכב מבחוץ. Eli was sleeping was watching make the from inside. Eli was Shemuel was outside because he was Levi. He wasn't Kohen. וקפץ הכל דרך אלי לשמואל. במסכת תמיד. Okay. Zoro from Masechet Tamiz. Okay, that was the Rashi. Back to the Pasukim. Vayaratz el Eli. So basically he heard the voice coming from Echal. So he thought it's coming from Eli. He ran to Eli, Vayomer Hineni. Again it says Hineni. I'm ready to do whatever you tell me. Ki karata li. You called me. Vayomer lo karati. So Eli tell him, I didn't call you. Shuv shechab. Go back to sleep. No, yeah, pasuk hey. You jumped. Pasuk hey. Shuv shechab vayelech vayeshkav, and he went back to sleep. That was the first time. No, second time. Vayosef Hashem karaot Shemuel. Again Hashem called his name, Shemuel. Again, the voice coming from Kodesh HaKodeshim. He hears the voice from inside the Hechal, jumps, runs to Eli.
Eli couldn't hear it, just him?
Only him. We'll see soon that was the sign to Eli that Hashem is talking. Vayakom Shemuel vayelech el Eli. Shemuel got up again and went to Eli. Vayomer hineni. Very interesting that every time he goes to Eli, goes hineni. In the middle of the night, right? Someone calls you up, wakes you up, you're in a nice deep sleep, someone wakes you up, he doesn't know this Hashem, he thinks it's Eli. Instead of going and says, what do you want? He goes, no. Hineni. Right? I'm at your service, basically. Ki karata li. So the Mepharshim bring this and show how humble was Shemuel, and that's why Hashem loved him. That's why he was chosen. Right? They compare him a lot with Moshe. Same way Moshe said Hineni, like you mentioned. Shemuel said Hineni. Same way he was humble. Moshe was very, very, very humble. He was also very humble. We see a lot in the stories that we see. He was a very humble man. Ki karata li, he said, you called me. Vayomer lo karati beni. Shuv shechav. He says, I didn't call you my son. Go back to sleep. Again, send him back to sleep. Ushmuel terem yada et Hashem v'terem yigale alav devar Hashem. Shmuel never talked to Hashem. Yada means he doesn't know the voice of Hashem. And Hashem never appeared to him. The words of Hashem never appeared to him. So he didn't know, he had no idea how Hashem wants to talk to him. Vayosef Hashem kerosh Shemuel b'shlishit. So the third time Hashem is calling him. Imagine, third time if someone is waking you up and he thinks it's Eli, and he keep going to him and says, no, it wasn't me. Vayakom vayelech el Eli vayomer hineni. But he didn't change his attitude. Even the third time, people usually get annoyed. Okay, tell me what you want. He said, no. He was so humble. He said, okay, hineni, I'm at your service. I'm here. Ki karata li, you called me. Vayeven Eli. Vayeven Eli means Eli understood. How did he understand? Ki Hashem korel na'ar, that Hashem is calling to the young boy. Hashem is trying to call his name. How did he know? He says, he is hearing his name, but I'm not hearing it. Right? It's not somebody else calling that is hearing loud and clear. So must be Hashem is talking to him. When Hashem talks to somebody, only that person hears. There could be a lot of people around you, but only that hears. It's different than a bad call. When this is a bad call, you'd say, when bad call comes, a lot of people could hear it at the same time. But when Nebuah comes, only that one person, that Navi, hears it. So now Eli knew what's going on. Vayomer Eli leShmuel. Now he's teaching him what to do. Eli told Shemuel, Lech shechab, go back to sleep. And and it will be when he calls you, again, when the voice calls your name, Va'amarta dabber Hashem. And you should say, Hashem, please talk to me. Ki shomea abdecha, I'm listening. Your slave is listening. So that's what he told him to say. And we will see soon that he changes a little bit. But you see, he tells him, Dabber Hashem, ki shomea abdecha. Va'elech Shemuel va'eshkab b'mkomo. Shemuel went and slept in his place. Vayabo Hashem va'idyasev. This time a vision came in front of him also. That not only the voice, right? Where is the Radek over there? He said not only he saw the voice, he heard the voice, he saw vision also, vision of as if like someone is standing there. The angel was standing. ויקרא כפעם בפעם, and he called like each time, Shemuel, Shemuel, 2 times Shemuel, right? Shemuel, Shemuel. So what we see, there's only 4 people are called by Hashem 2 times in a row. It shows extra love. Abraham, right? Jacob, Moshe. Those are all 3 of them are in the Torah. No. And then the 4th one is Shemuel.
کیا گفته؟ موشه.
Abraham, Jacob, Moshe. And here we have Shemuel. Shows the closeness to Hashem. Right? When Hashem.
اینا فامیلا شما بودن. آقای یلیدی. اینا فامیلا شما بودن.
Okay. And then what Shemuel says, Vayomer Shemuel, Daber, he doesn't say Daber Hashem the same way that Eli told him. He just says Daber, please speak, Ki Shomei Abdecha, because your slave is listening. Why didn't he say Hashem's name? Rashi. You see in Rashi, the Dibur HaMatchil says, Pasuk Yud, Vayomer Shemuel Daber, Velo Iskir Shem Makom, he did not mention the name of Hashem, Kemo Shesivo Eli, like Eli commanded him to do. Amar Shem Makol Acherhu, he thought maybe it's a different voice. Why should I use Hashem's name in vain?
Wow.
He was so humble, he couldn't imagine that Hashem would be talking to him. So he didn't want to say from his humbleness, he didn't want to say Hashem's name. A person has to be very, very, very careful not to use Hashem's name just like this in vain. Like even with reading Pasuk, if you're reading part of the Pasuk, you have to be careful.
You say how old was Shemuel at this time? How old was he at this time?
It says Na'ar. He was young boy, but it doesn't. We don't know how old. Because when he was sent there, it was only 2 years. How many years passed, it doesn't say, but he was still a young boy. ויאמר השם אל שמואל, הנה אנוכי עושה דבר בישראל. Hashem told Shemuel, I'm going to do something to the Jewish people. אשר כל השומע תסילנה שתי אוזניו. That whoever hears it, his both ears are going to ring. Something very shocking. Hashem says to Shemuel, this is a prophecy. I'm going to do something very shocking to Israel. So what is it referring to? If it was referring to the 2 sons of Eli going to die, so that is okay. It's a sad thing, but it's not okay. People die in war. No, it's not that so shocking that no one ever heard in the world. This must be something that extra shocking to the whole world. No one would ever imagine something like this. So this was referring to the Aaron, that the Palestinians gonna steal the Aaron HaKodesh, right? The Aaron with the luchot and everything, they're gonna steal it. That's shocking, right? From the time of Moshe, they already had this Aaron always with them. Right? We'll see in the next parakim about the whole story about it. Okay? So that was the reference to the shocking news. And now Hashem tells him the rest of the news. Bayom ha'u akim el Eli. On that day that this shocking news happens, I'm gonna establish on Eli kol asher dibarti el beto. Whatever I told to his about his family. Remember yesterday's perek that the Navi already told Eli what's gonna happen. He says when it's gonna start that day, that shocking day. Hechel v'kalla. I'm going to start to destroy them. Ve'igati lo ki shofet ani et beto. And I'm going to tell him, that means I'm going to show him that I'm judging his family. Ad olam, until ever, forever. Right? Remember, we said that Rabbi and Rabbi, they were thousand years after this. Their family was dying young until they figured out how to increase their life. One of them got involved in Torah, he got extra life. The other one got involved in Torah and given the Chassidim, got even 20 more years than the other one. Extra life. One of them, I think, died in 40, one of them in 60. So Rabbi and Rabbi, they were from Eli, and even those days the family was dying young. Okay? Adolam it says. So how did their generation continue? They knew they're going to die in 18, they had to get married very young, to have children, to have continuation. Sounds like they used to get married much younger to have children before they die. Okay, Be'avon Asher Yadad, in the sin that he knows, right? Eli already knows about the sin, right? That means he knew and he didn't do anything about it. That's why he's going to suffer also. Ki mekalelim lahem banav. His children are cursing themselves, right? What does it mean, cursing themselves? Radak says Tikkun Sofrim here. Tikkun Sofrim means it was fixed, written this way, so Chas v'Shalom, we don't say Hashem's name, we said themselves, right? But then the question is, how could it be that Tikkun Sofrim means that Sofer, whoever wrote it this way? No. Hashem on purpose wrote it this way, so when the Sofer writes it, Chas v'Shalom doesn't write anything against Hashem. That's it called Tikkun Sofrim, right? Mekalelin lahem is they cursing themselves. Doesn't they cursing themselves? Chas v'Shalom means Hashem didn't want to say his name instead. His name said lahem. The sons of Eli, referring to sons of Eli, that blasphemy. Velo kiha bahem. So it was Eli's guilt. He did not rebuke them.
How did he know? He was in Mishkan the whole time.
He knew. They were there too. Right? What did he do? So, you know,
They're learning.
they're learning. They're gonna learn. They're gonna get it one day. You know. By the time he found out and he rebuked them, was too late already. Gezardin was already done. That's when he started telling them something. Otherwise, when they were young, he should have. So we see how important chinuch yeladim is. From when they are young, they're doing something wrong, you have to stop them. It's your responsibility. Otherwise, you are guilty also. Lachen nishbati lebet Eli. Therefore, Hashem says, I swear. So you see, Gemara says, whenever there is a gezerah if there is not swearing with it, you could cancel it. But whenever there is a swearing with the gezerah, there is no canceling. Right? That's why one of the reasons that Moshe couldn't cancel the gezerah of the midbar, that they all going to die in midbar, because of the Hashem swear. Whenever there is a swear in it, there's no canceling.
With Purim, I thought I heard also there was a Shavua in Shemayim.
I don't know. Maybe there was a gezerah. There was for sure was a gezerah, but gezerah with the Shavua, Gemara says you cannot cancel it. So lachen nishbati lebet Eli. I swear to the household of the Eli, the family of Eli. Im itkaper avon bet Eli bezevach ubemincha. If the sin of the household of Eli become annulled, become the kapara, they get kapara with zevach and mincha. Even if they bring sacrifices, usually sacrifices you bring, it forgives your sin. But since their sin was through the sacrifices, so the sacrifice for them is not going to work. Right? There's no, basically, as Hashem said, there's not even teshuvah for them. Sacrifices and mincha is not going to help them. Ad olam. So their curse is forever, not just them, the following generations also. As we said, 1,000 years later, even Avaya and Rabbi, they were from Eli's family, and their family was dying young. Vayishkav Shemuel ad boker. So Shemuel slept until the morning after hearing this. Vayiftach et daltot bet Hashem. That's the job of the Levim, right? He went to open the doors of the Mishkan, Bet Hashem. Ushmuel yara mehagid et hamar'eh el Eli. Shmuel was scared to tell about the vision to Eli. He said, how am I going to tell him this? Right? Exactly. What are you going to tell him? He was scared to tell him. Vayikra Eli el Shemuel. By the way, if a Navi has a nevuah and don't say it, it's chayav mitah. So, nevuah, when Hashem gives the nevuah, he has to say it. That's what Eli has to teach him also. Okay? So his first time he didn't know. So Eli tells him, Vayikra Eli el Shemuel, Vayomer Shemuel Beni. Eli called Shemuel and told Shemuel, my son, Vayomer Hineni, again, I'm at your service. Vayomer, Ma davar asher diber, what did Hashem tell you? Asher diber elecha, that Hashem tell you. Al na techached mimeni, don't withhold from me. Right? Ko ya'aseh lecha Elokim, v'cho yosif im techached mimeni davar. Hashem should do the same to you and more if you hold back anything. Mikol hadavar asher diber elecha, from all the things that he told you. Very interesting, Radak. Ko ya'aseh lecha Elokim kishem. Here, right before it gets white. You have it here? In the Radak. At bet. כה יעשה לך אלוקים כשם שאין בני יורשים את מקומי. That was the curse of Eli to Shemuel, if you don't tell me. That was on the condition that if you don't tell me the same way my sons won't inherit me, כך אין בניך יורשים מקומך. Your sons also won't inherit your place. They won't become Nevi'im like you, right? Or leaders like you, right? And then it says, next Radak, which is the next pasuk we're going to read soon, but then let's do the Radak. Afal piken, even though Shemuel told him everything, he says, V'lo kachad mimeno, he didn't hold back anything. He told him everything exactly the way Hashem told him. אף על פי כן בא לו קללתו. His curse came to him. Shemuel's sons went off the derech. Right? מכאן אמרו קללת חכם אפילו על תנאי היא באה. Right? The same way. From here they said the curse of the chacham, even if it is on a condition, the curse happens.
Wow.
Even though he did the condition. Right? The similar thing we see with Yaakov and Rachel. He said whoever
Took the
told Lavan, whoever took the teraphim should die. But he didn't know.
That's his wife.
But over here,
Kelelat Chacham.
Shmuel did tell him.
Yes, even though the condition, that's why you have to be very careful not to.
Even
Do
if
klal.
Kind of
the
Chachamim.
condition was met, you still
Yes,
get it.
this we see a few places in Tanakh that this happens. In Gemara also there's a story, right, that Gemara brings. Another one rabbi curses another one if you don't do this, if you don't say this, it does it, and it still happens to him.
That's bad.
That's what they say. Kilat chacham afilu al tanai ba'a. Yes. So we are up to Yudchet, right? ויגד לו שמואל את כל הדברים ולא חיחד ממנו. Shemuel told him all the words, everything word by word he told him, and he did not withhold anything from him. Everything he said. ויאמר השם הוא הטוב בעיניו יעשה. Eli accepted the din, right? This is Siduk Adin, and he said Hashem should do whatever is pleasing to his eyes. That's also a very big madriga. Eli was a very, very good leader at the time that he was leader. Like when Rambam counts all the leaders of Israel, counts Eli as one of the good leaders. You see from here also, he accepted the din. Said whatever Hashem does, I accept it. Vayigdal Shemuel grew big. והשם היה עמו, and Hashem was with him, ולא הפיל מכל דבריו ארצה, and none of his word was falling onto the earth. That means everything he said was happening. And Radak says, even the things that was not said by Neviut, whatever he would say, would happen. That's what it was. From this, people saw that Hashem loved him. Where is it? אפילו הדברים שהיה אומר שלא ברוח נבואה. Radak says, right? Not only the ones that nevuah that he would say would come true, that's how they know he's a real Navi. Also the regular things that he would say, it would come true. Right? ובזה הדבר ידע כל ישראל, כי נאמן שמואל לנביא השם. That's what continuation of the pasuk is. Radak says, that's how they knew. Right? וידע ישראל מדן ועד באר שבע. That's basically from Dan to Beer Sheva. This is the whole Israel, the whole people are Israel. They all knew. Basically, became very famous. Shemuel. Ki ne'eman Shemuel le'navi laHashem. Shemuel is a navi ne'eman for Hashem. Trustworthy navi. That means whatever he says, it happens. And that's the end of the perek. We stop here.